I hope you're watching this on YouTube because today we all showed up after last week talking about how we always accidentally match each other. And we're all wearing the same concept today.
Exact shirt.
Gray t-shirts.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys have black pants. I have black shorts.
Right.
And my shirt has a graphic on it.
This is what happens when
rep
we
for
don't
school.
text each other the morning of.
I know. Guys, come on. We got to get back
This
to the
happened
morning text.
organically.
It was predestined.
Welcome to the Afterthoughts podcast where we match and we talk about all kinds of
We
stuff.
talk about matching.
We talk. What's your favorite match?
This one. Yeah.
Yes.
A gray
Yes,
shirt is
dude.
nice because then
Good
you get
match.
your black pants. You can go white shoes. You can go gray shoes. You can go black shoes.
Mm.
Very neutral.
Yes.
Teal with an amber. Corey Miller once told me those two colors
yeah?
complement each other.
Right.
I wonder if it's still in.
Yeah,
I like
that's
to
like
light.
6
I like
years
the feeling of lighting a match. Speaking of matches,
That's
Yeah.
your favorite match?
Yeah.
What about the game Match?
is that a game?
The
It's just
matching
called
game.
match.
We play the matching game
Matching game's awesome.
Okay.
at home. Yeah.
Like you turn one card over and
Oh,
then you try
yeah,
to turn
yeah.
the other one over.
Yeah.
You got to remember where it's at.
Oh yeah, I played that with Will, and I met my match.
You
Nice.
met your match in Will Wekenman. He's good at that.
He is good at
He's
that.
good at that. We have
Yes.
some sports to catch up
Okay,
on real quick.
let's get
We
right
had a
to
big
it, guys.
weekend. Let's start
Yeah.
here.
Don't bury the lead.
Obviously.
Okay, we'll start
Number
with the
one
Longhorns.
in the nation.
Arch Manning, great start to
Played
his career.
Yep.
And they destroyed that. They played UL Monroe or something.
When was the last time you went to a Longhorns game?
Last year.
Last year?
Last
Okay,
game of the
yeah.
season.
Years from me, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
need to
so
go.
fun.
Need to go to another one soon.
We do.
Shout out to our guy Jeff, who
Jeff.
sent us the
Oh,
JMU
yes.
hat. They put up, I think, 70 points on North Carolina.
They're
Just
good.
throttled them.
Wow.
Out of
How about
nowhere,
the Broncos getting a win?
the
Unexpected.
Denver Broncos
Bo Nix.
Yeah.
dominated
Looks
the
just so
Buccaneers,
good.
who have been
I've always said it.
a team that started
Sean
pretty well.
Payton's first September win as a Bronco.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
We needed one.
Shout out
Badly.
to Angel, one of our best volunteers who happens to be a Buccaneers
Ever since
fan.
he started coming to this church, our teams beat his teams over and over. That poor guy. Nuggets took the Heat down in the finals. The Avs beat the Lightning
Right.
for the Stanley Cup. Now the Broncos have beat the Buccaneers. Maybe we always want to play teams from Tampa. And
But of course,
the Buffs are about
Come
to go to
on.
Florida. This was a win for the ages.
Yes.
best Buffs game
One
All
of
time?
one of ever.
In a long
in a
time.
one of
long,
the best
and at
games.
least in
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating.
And by best, I don't mean best played. I mean best ending because
Best
they
ending,
actually
correct.
the game was frustrating.
As far as fun
throughout.
games to watch,
Right.
man.
2 plays to go.
Uh-huh.
We had a miracle, and a wide receiver dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Would have fallen backwards into the end zone, tied the game to go to overtime. 2 seconds left after that.
I can't imagine that
we
feeling.
went silent.
Ryan and I were just staring at each other, like standing across my living room, like we just had a miracle and we dropped it.
Your
The
dog
whole-
Bowser was looking at us like, did something just
What's
happen?
happened? He was
Like-
concerned.
That was a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was
Easy.
the easiest catch of the day.
Right? Hit him right in the numbers. Dangerous place to get hit.
Oh, man.
But then
But alas,
Shadur Sanders rolls out, throws it up in the air, and he said after the game, he just threw it and gave it to God. And
looked
guess
like
what?
he was about to get sacked.
I didn't
It
think
was
I
a-
thought he
it
got
was a
hit and that
millisecond.
it was going to be short
Yep.
of the end zone, but he just flung it down there. They had a play where Travis Hunter was going this way to try to get a bunch of the
and Travis
secondary
decided that.
here.
Did you know that?
He's a
Yeah,
genius.
yeah,
He's the
man.
greatest. Well, I
Oh.
hope we'll come back to him because
Yeah. Don't give it away.
this
Yeah.
dude, small receiver Wester coming along this side, just sneaks behind the guy, catches the touchdown, tie game. We
And
go
it was
into
a
overtime.
phenomenal catch.
It was
man.
amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's
And they had
raining.
just shown the miracle at Michigan when the Buffs years and years ago, Cordell Stewart
Cordell
had that
Stewart.
to Westbrook crazy. So then it goes to overtime.
Right.
Buffs have a great drive, take the lead by a touchdown.
Yep.
And then it looks like Baylor's going to tie it up.
Travis says on the sideline, I'm going to get an interception.
I'm getting the ball.
I'm getting the ball. He doesn't do that. However,
And just for context, the same guy who's the wide receiver is talking about.
he's playing every play.
Correct.
he's-
yeah. He
he's
plays. Yeah.
It's
best
unbelievable.
Offense and defense.
Best player in the country.
Yeah.
Comes up, meets the guy right before the goal line.
Knocks
Dude
the ball
fumbles
out.
into the end zone. Buffs win.
On maybe like 3 inches
It was
before the
right
end zone,
there.
dude.
It was
Yeah.
right there.
Of course, it was Travis Hunter.
He's the best. He is the
amazing.
best. Go
Yeah,
Buffs.
I said if we have a third kid, that I'm going to name him Hunter after Travis Hunter. And Steph
say
was
that.
walking through and she just goes, nope. So
That's exactly how it happened.
jury's out.
But that takes
Let
us
it
to
marinate. Let it
Yeah.
marinate.
Well, we have so many great viewers of this.
Yeah.
a little bit of fan mail.
We have people who comment. Shout out to everybody who watches, comments, shares
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And Ryan even got fan mail, and we would love to hear it.
To the gentleman of the Afterthoughts podcast from a friend of the pod. Typically, I wouldn't share this letter.
Wow.
But it was actually really well done, and you're about to see it. It is a grievance card, an I'm sorry for your loss card. And then you open it up.
Is there scripture on the front?
Oh, yeah. And Isaiah 41:10, of course. I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you. Of course, this is from a Nebraska Cornhusker fan, and it's a reference to 28-10 loss, which is easier for us to talk about now after we just had maybe the best win.
And so many Baylor Bears come to Red Rocks, Austin.
Oh, dude.
I texted a couple guys that went to Baylor and just said, did you guys catch the game? And they said, oh, sorry, wrong text.
So good. So much fun. Let me read this for us. Love the pod. Good start.
Agreed.
Hate the heresy. Strong.
Disagree.
Just
strong
I hate
word.
heresy in general, right?
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, of course.
She says, but it is okay. I forgive you. I too would go astray if I had allegiance to the Sodom and Gomorrah of colleges, which is a wild thing to say.
Wow.
She said, I almost changed my pod review to 4 stars, but Kayla doesn't deserve that. Shout out to Questions with Kayla.
No, I'll take that.
Thanks for being the one likable part of this podcast.
Yeah.
No
and
problem.
then she goes on to reference how we were just ripping apart Nebraska a couple of weeks ago on the pod, which we stand by, from Allie from the Arvada campus. And so
Thanks for the card, Allie.
Thanks, Allie.
Kind of thanks.
Kind
It's a bit of a shot,
Yeah.
but it's at least
Very
well
creative.
said.
Oh, that's somebody who
Very
knows
funny.
her audience, I would say.
Very
well.
funny. Thank you
Yeah.
for the 5 stars.
Yep.
Great job, Kayla.
Hey,
You're
to
the
everybody
key.
who reviews or comments or subscribes, thank you.
Yeah.
We're trying to be the first podcast ever on YouTube to reach 1 billion subscribers. And we're on our way. So
Because without vision, the people
hit that-
perish.
Hit that subscribe button.
We
Yes.
at least have a North Star that we're chasing after. 1 billion subscribers.
1 billion subscribers.
Uh-huh.
So share the podcast,
Yeah.
clips that we put on Instagram,
Yeah.
TikTok,
TikTok.
It's a huge help.
YouTube,
YouTube
shorts.
Yeah.
All of
Get it out there.
All
A
of
billion. That's a good goal.
Means a lot to us. It means, an eighth of the planet.
That's not that many people.
It's not.
That's
No,
a reasonable
That means
goal.
7 out of 8 people don't watch it.
What is
Wow.
is it Joe Rogan who has the most subscribers to it? It's Joe.
I think he's the number 1 podcast. Yeah.
And he's just our neighbor
Yeah, down the
He's
street.
around-
Yeah.
down the street.
That's why we
Yeah.
call him Down the Street Joe.
We've always called him that. And we can't wait to have him on when our podcast overtakes his, when we hit 1 billion subscribers. It'll be great. Kayla,
Oh, man.
Hey.
how's your fantasy football team doing?
Oh, it's so annoying. I really can empathize with you guys now.
Yeah.
It's so annoying because yesterday I played a girl, Mary. Shout out to Mary. And her
Mary
and I
from Basic
had
Sports.
the most points, but of course we're playing each other. So we could have
Correct.
dominated
That's how it
any
always
other
goes.
person,
Always.
That's how it goes.
but we played each other, and so it became a
I'm
very
so sorry.
tough match.
That is
and
a
I
horrible
lost.
feeling.
oh, yeah.
Do you want to
Yeah.
know a cool thing that the leagues I'm in we do?
What?
It's called the league median. So
Oh.
you can win 2 games a week. You play someone
Oh.
head to head, but then also the top half of the league that scores the most points gets a win, and the bottom half gets a loss. So you'd be 1-1 this week because you
That'd
lost
be
to Mary,
so
but you
nice.
outscored everybody else. Just a
Dang.
cool fantasy
It
football
would be nice.
fact.
Yeah.
But
you
that's
know?
not what y'all do.
Nope.
Right.
It's
Logan,
not.
Doesn't
Logan
matter.
sent me a video of you getting fired up about Monday Night Football last night.
Yeah.
Our wives playing fantasy football is changing our lives. Thursday night, Steph and I are watching Rings of Power, which is a very
We
cool
are
show.
too.
Season 2.
Really
Whoa.
good.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
look
getting a little
over, and it's like
confused.
we're getting really deep into the story behind Sauron here. And I look over, and Steph is on her phone game casting
Oh,
the
yeah.
Monday night or the Thursday night game
Come
to see if
on.
Garrett
You gotta
Wilson's
love
catching
that.
any passes.
You gotta love that.
This is a
Yeah.
good time in my life.
It was a
Thank you,
really
God,
tough weekend
for
because
Mary
my
creating this league.
top players who are great, like CeeDee Lamb,
Yeesh.
Devontae,
Yikes.
all these players that
Yikes.
should be doing well did terrible, but my terrible players actually did really well.
On the bench?
No, they actually
That's the
did
second
great.
worst feeling is when your
It's
bench
true.
players.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have some hack
So-
for that, E? Like most points on the bench, get another win?
No.
That's part of your
I
master's
leave a
class.
lot of points on the
Oh,
bench.
Everybody
boy.
can be a winner in
wanna cry.
some way every week. Yeah.
The biggest loser gets a win.
The league,
Yes.
the league median, in the end, I think gets the best 6 teams more likely because you have that team every year that plays everyone on their worst week, and you're like, you don't deserve this.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, the Cowboys look bad,
They did.
Yeah.
and that's concerning. Chris and I have CeeDee Lamb too. So
Yeah.
pray for us. We're praying for you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions other than fantasy football related stuff?
I do have questions.
Okay, great.
Okay. Well, I think Allie can appreciate this, even though it doesn't have anything to do with Nebraska. But this is a question from ours truly, Ethan Morales.
Ours truly. That was such a great moment when you first introduced
And it was so
ours
pure.
truly to us.
Did not realize.
It's awesome.
Ryan's trying to create a new term for like something's cool.
Oh, yeah. A new Gen Z term.
Yeah.
Kodak.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kodak.
It means
That's kind of cool, actually.
something
Yeah.
used to be cool, but
Oh.
then it wasn't cool, but now it's cool again, but like
Yeah. Oh,
ironically.
I like that.
Dude, that's
like
brilliant.
Baggy jeans.
Baggy jeans.
Kodak, dude.
Those are Kodak.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
Everyone should
Thanks,
start
guys.
saying
Like
it.
Kodak.
Exactly.
Kodak is so
Doug,
Kodak.
You got it, dude.
Kodak is Kodak.
I think I'm understanding this.
No, you're on
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
It's also just a cool.
Polaroids.
It's a cool word.
Kodak, dude.
Yeah.
So
That is a cool.
Share
it'd be
it
a cool
with your
name
friends.
Be a cool name for a dog as well.
Kodak.
What's your dog's name? Kodak.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There you go.
Great.
Yeah.
Kayla, thanks for asking. Next question.
Okay. So
I'll throw out another one just because it kind of reminded me.
Okay, hit
that
me.
dude, that's so Klondike. In other
sounds-
words, I'd do anything for that.
Oh,
What would you do? What would
Klondike
you do
bars
for
could
that?
be Kodak, dude.
that
Yeah.
bus hat?
it could, dude.
That is
dude.
actually the whole time you were saying Kodak. I was like, what word does that make me
Also,
think
Kodak
of? Klondike?
is, dude, is. I mean, that's Klondike.
Dude, I
I'd
would
do anything for a Kodak camera.
I would Klondike for a sermon to preach about this
Ethan,
weekend.
Can you,
Same here.
can you
Okay.
tell Chat GPT that these words are now being used in this way and make them cool?
These
for
two
us?
words, watch
We
them,
create
watch them just
two new
Kodak,
words.
man.
Kodak, and Klondike.
Klondike.
Okay,
Yep.
so here's the task. The next time you each preach, you have to try to use those
I'll
words.
say it this week. I'll say
And
both of them
use
this
it
weekend.
like it's normal.
Just how we mean the new meaning we've put behind it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
use it without an explanation.
Yeah.
speaking of,
It was
I don't
for the
think Ethan
Klondike
used the
set
word
before him that Jesus went to the
last
cross.
week's word.
Yeah. What?
Post.
Oh, I'll never.
Human.
I will
humanly.
never try to say that word again.
Yeah, he did.
I had multiple people make fun of me for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. I don't care, but I won't try to say it again.
Care a little bit.
In a positive light,
I went to therapy and I'm fine. My therapist. I said, now everyone
Don't trigger him, Kayla.
Everyone thinks that
My
I'm
bad.
dumb, and my therapist said, no. Everyone knows that you're dumb.
yeah.
that's such a good reframe.
So that helped. That made me feel better.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it takes the guessing out of
Yeah,
it.
it's not an opinion; it's a fact, and what I can't argue with fact.
Dude, now we get rid of the paradox of choice and we just know.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You don't have
guys.
to wonder if people are thinking that. You know.
Yeah, now I know.
Okay.
And
so now let's
knowing
move
is
on.
half the battle. How many times do I have to
Exactly.
say that on this podcast? Kayla, thank you for asking. Next question.
Next question.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're never gonna
Dude,
get
your
to the
next
first
question
one.
is so Klondike.
I'm so glad you think that. Okay, the question is, do you think it was appropriate for Colorado to rush the field since they beat an unranked Baylor team?
Oh, this is a very pointed question.
Yeah.
It's from yours truly.
Ours.
I have been part
Tell
of.
Morales to shut up. He doesn't even have a college football team.
I have been part of, as we all have,
Yes.
of the mob of
Right.
students who have rushed the Folsom Field.
I would say it's very hard to not rush when everybody else is
Oh,
rushing.
something's-
So
It's
true.
dangerous.
If
to
the
not
row
rush.
behind you decide,
Oh yeah,
There's
dude.
a sermon illustration right there.
No, we're going.
wow, wow.
Wow,
There's
wow,
some.
wow.
There's
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
there.
Okay, I actually might use that this weekend. We'll see. Brilliant idea.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Morales.
Yeah. Thank you. Next
I
question.
rushed the field when I was in college at Auburn, and they have bushes to make you
Oh,
not.
yeah.
Jumped into the bushes, tore my legs up,
Oh,
and then I
really?
had to
Oh, yeah.
catch my friend because she didn't want to tear her legs up.
Who did you guys beat?
Did you actually catch your friend?
Alabama.
Yeah,
Yes.
You
I
did.
I was like, I caught you. You could think you
Is
could
your
do
friend-
anything in
Such
those
a-
moments.
such a fair
Is your
question.
friend a mouse? I don't believe you. If I have to
know.
jump down from onto a field from somewhere, yeah, I'm not gonna ask Kayla
Okay,
to catch
Mrs.
me.
Mouse.
I'm not. I knew a guy who
Kayla's
I knew a
got it.
guy who had to jump to rush the field, like kind of a, I have to do this thing, and broke his leg.
Yeah,
That
you
Folsom,
get
yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
But you think you can do anything
It's rowdy.
in those moments.
I watched.
It's
I
rowdy.
watched at the end of that game.
yeah.
There was people running, and a dude fell, and people started
Oh.
coming. One of the
Nope.
players picked him up off the ground.
Yeah.
Like stopped and saw him, and
It's the
picked him
one
up, probably
place you
saved
can't
his
fall.
life.
No.
So was it appropriate?
Yeah.
My brother texted me about that. He's like, all the students rushed the field before the refs even finalized the review. And I said, one of the keys to being a CU buff is
Yeah.
that you don't give a cuss. So
Right.
sure. It was
Yep.
a big win. It was
Big
a
win.
miracle win.
There you go.
I think it's fine.
Okay, next thing. the things that are breaking the internet right now. Have you guys heard of Pesto the penguin and Deng the hippo?
Someone showed me the hippo. Was
feel
it you
like-
guys? Was it you guys?
We'll put it on the screen.
That's
for
good because I
people.
feel like Kayla was just pranking us right now.
No.
Yeah.
This is Pesto
No.
the penguin. You know those king
I haven't seen-
penguins? They're the
I
biggest
love-
penguins.
Yeah.
Penguins
Pesto
are awesome.
is a 50-pound baby penguin.
50 pounds?
Like he
Jeez.
came out bigger than the regular ones.
I'll say.
Yeah.
And
Well
His
said.
name's Pesto. Who's naming him
Pesto.
and where is he?
I haven't done that much research.
Is he in captivity or is he wild penguin?
Let me get some more research
Even
on
that picture, does it
later
look like
on.
Antarctica?
No, I think he's in captivity. There's a
Okay.
there's a box behind him.
50
yeah.
pounder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 50 pounds.
How much does a regular penguin?
Not that much.
38.
So
I have no idea.
A full-size emperor penguin, 38 pounds.
Penguins are some of the coolest animals there are. I'm gonna find out.
But Deng is this cute little hippo,
You're asking Google and not ChatGPT.
and both of these things
Still
are
not
breaking the
into AI.
internet. So
Because it's a cute hippo, is that why?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
just a cute little hippo.
I'm all
It's
for
in
it.
what country?
sure, great. Yeah, what was
hippo?
there a question?
Thailand or
Country.
the question was just have you heard of
Are
him?
you for it or
No.
against it?
Yeah, Thailand.
Penguin, yes. Hippo
Thailand.
Into it.
Yes.
Thailand
Yes.
No.
is where the hippo is.
Hippo. Let's
It
see
just
about
got put on TikTok or something, and everyone went nuts for.
yeah.
What does it do? Does it do something, or it's just cute?
Runs around,
Yeah.
is doing like hippo,
All right, cool.
hippo things.
Okay. The smallest penguin weighs 2 pounds. The largest weighs 88 pounds.
Yeah, and the average is 38.
Kilograms. Emperor penguin average weight 35 kilograms, which is what you meant.
Wow.
77 pounds. I didn't realize penguins were
really?
that big. But the macaroni penguin is 11 pounds. The little blue penguin is 2.6 to 2.9 pounds.
What about the
Can we
scamper
let's try to get one for the
penguin?
podcast.
Macaroni?
Kayla, look at, no, well, macaroni's 11 pounds. We want a little blue penguin.
Okay.
2 to 3 pounds. See if we can
Little-
buy one for the podcast.
Or
Little
a hippo
blue.
to have here. And then we could say, welcome back to our
Those
hippo
are
campus.
so cute.
It'll just kill us.
We could say that.
That one flew under the radar,
You
but
know,
that's all right.
Wow.
What'd you say? Sorry, I missed
No,
it.
we're good.
People get
No,
so
we're good.
excited when a hippo comes up to go, do you know the most dangerous land animal?
Yeah, dude.
They have double jointed jaws. They can eat a watermelon like a grape. They'll bite your head off.
They can actually outrun you. They don't look it, but they can.
That's
Oh,
one of the
there's a
animals
sermon
I
there,
thought I
Doug.
had to like prepare for in life. Like
So
when you're little, there's things that you think that you're gonna have to come in
Right.
contact with a lot.
Right,
quicksand, hippos,
right.
Oh,
and bats.
I was terrified
now
of quicksand
I am around bats more.
as a kid.
Yeah.
you are around
Yeah.
bats more. Did you
It's
from the
crazy.
Princess Bride? Do you remember that
Oh,
movie
yeah.
when
Mine was
Wesley goes
from-
under?
Yeah. Mine was
Yeah.
from playing Mario.
Oh,
And some of those levels there would be quicksand.
Well, in Mario, you do
I
have to
think
deal with
mine's
quicksand.
from. There was
That's
a
a really
reality.
good-
There was a live-action Jungle Book movie that was
Yep.
made back in the day, and
Oh,
there was
yeah.
a quicksand scene,
Mowgli.
and it terrified me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Quicksand would. Ooh.
Oh,
That'd be
That'd be-
What was the question
Be a
about
bummer.
the penguin and the
Oh,
hippo?
just which one would you pick?
Oh, to
pick for what?
have as a pet, or
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
one would you pick?
It's a fair question.
Pick for what?
I mean,
Pick
eat-
for this podcast,
to
dude, right
eat?
here, to be
Let's
right
say,
here in this
which
chair.
one would you pick to eat,
no.
to have as a pet,
Penguin.
and to give as a gift?
Penguin.
Absolutely not.
All penguin for you?
No, hippo for the eating.
Yeah, I wonder if people do eat hippos.
Exotic meats,
Are
giraffe
good.
burgers, hippo steaks, hippo
I've
stew.
had- I
can
had,
get you, I can get you all of the above.
I had
I'm
zebra.
kidding, it's not
I had zebra once. It was actually pretty good.
really.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, man.
yeah.
Well,
Messed up.
any meat you eat, but it is a funny thing about being a parent when your kid
These guys
first
have never eaten any meat.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah.
when your kid first is like, wait, why are these called chicken nuggets? You're like, well, that's a
Oh,
funny conversation.
Where do we
Yeah.
start? Yeah.
If you don't get after me about this, Ethan's the carnivore diet guy.
Yeah.
So true.
All he does is eat meat.
He's
So true.
I would like to have the penguin as a pet.
there you go.
I would eat the hippo, and I would give the penguin as a gift.
I'll just say the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next question.
That's great. Okay. If you had to, so you're still in ministry, but you can't have
thank God.
your same job.
Okay.
Which job would you want to have?
like what ministry job?
Yeah. Which like ministry position would you want to have?
Can we do a different job that's not ministry?
No.
I know. Just kidding.
That defeats
Pro surfer. That's my ministry.
Ministry.
Yeah,
Surf
It's
ministry.
a Christian
Yeah.
professional surfer.
Yeah, I would probably lead our surf teams.
That's so true.
We're not here to save the city. We're here to surf the city.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a church on one of the coasts that's not using that, there's a
Yeah.
gift.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
When we were youth ministry interns in Laguna Beach, I was in charge of our student leader. They had like teams or like ministries they would lead.
Mhm.
And there was these two guys, the brothers Segrist, and they were the surf ministry leads. And their job was to just get all the kids from youth group to surf together.
Nice.
So I would do that job.
Okay.
Nice.
Thanks,
Me too.
guys. Thanks, guys, for answering.
I would just be Ethan's intern to help him do that.
Done.
We're actually looking for interns. It's perfect.
Perfect.
Can never have too many people in the water.
No. Yes.
It's a vast expanse of water.
Mm.
the ocean.
Yeah.
The ocean is infinite.
Sounds
specifically.
big.
It's the biggest.
But God stores it in jars. Isn't that
Wow.
what the psalm says?
He has
waters of the
huge
deep.
jars. Each jar basin, I think there were 6 of them, 900 bottles of wine. So think of the ocean. You can
Yes.
That's 100 of those.
That's actually kilograms of wine.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
35 kilograms, 77 pounds.
906 bottles of wine.
Great.
We're talking about over the top generosity,
Rooted out of
joy.
bang. What
Wow.
a transition into talking about this weekend.
Great message, man.
Great message.
It turned out to be a lot of fun to preach. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Do you feel like you experienced more joy prepping a joy message last week than the average week in your life?
Yeah, or is it more difficult to experience joy?
Good question. I think I do, yes.
Hmm.
I actually realized I think my most joyful weeks are preaching weeks.
Hmm.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they're my most happy, easy weeks.
Yep.
That differentiation of happiness and joy actually spoke a lot to preaching weeks to me. Because I'm the most deep in the word during a preaching week.
Mm-hmm.
Studying it, learning, like absorbing it, internalizing it, wanting to communicate it.
Yeah. I'm more like ready in season or out of season. But you
Oh,
go
that
you keep
we
going.
live every week like preaching week.
This is the truth.
Yes.
Posture of worship. When you're in a preaching week, you're like repenting everything you possibly can. You're like,
Absolutely.
what else, God? Like, please help me. I'll like anything, everything, get it all out. You just have that, like your posture is,
Yeah.
I think, the most.
Yeah, it's
On point.
I literally,
Right.
I know for a fact I can't do this unless I'm connected to you.
And those things that fill the joy tank, you're so immersed in them. And then the weekend comes up and you start preaching. And it's almost, that's the overflow of it where you get, it's like the celebration part. Casey, our friend who was down here this weekend, asked me after, she's like, are you just exhausted, 5 sermons? And I was like, yeah, but I'm actually like feels most overjoyed at the end.
Yes.
Like after I've gotten to pour that out.
Mhm.
So there's like a physical tired part of me, but I think I've experienced the depth of joy, which sometimes coexists with like stress and feeling the weight of it and all that, but very joyful weeks in the end. It's like a deep joy
Yeah.
that I found.
I think it's a gift in life when you face a problem that you can't get by with your own wit.
Yeah.
And like you can't just creatively get your way out of something. It forces you to go, okay, God, I literally need you right now. And that's the posture that we're supposed to have all the time. But we
Yes.
all know it's very difficult to remain in that posture. And so preaching weeks give us this gift where it's like, God, I need you. And so the question obviously becomes like, how do we carry that heart posture?
Yeah. If you don't have
24/7?
to preach sermons, if you don't have that mantle, that's the question I'm always asking myself of my own life and then everybody else of like, we know the ingredients for joy, for full life, for connection with God, for being in his presence.
Right.
Why do we not dive into the word? Why do we not live in a posture of worship or even worship at church? Like, why do we?
Yeah. It's the same thing. I met a woman last year who was recently diagnosed with cancer of some sort. She was like a year into it. And she told me it's been a year since I've had an ounce of processed food.
Wow.
Or like sugar or gluten or and all these other changes. She's like, she exercises every day. This is her diet. She, meditation and prayer and all. And I was like, how do you do all that? And she very calmly said, you'd be amazed at what you can do when you have to. So all the things you should do.
Yeah.
You know all the things, all the ingredients of a full life and what's going to make you thrive and feel the best and live the best. And when there's a presence of a diagnosis or a crisis or a layoff, or sometimes those things wake you up to live extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, in the absence of that, how do you get yourself to do all the right things that you already know you should do?
Yeah.
And they're actually not hard to, it's not hard to understand. Maybe it's hard to live out, but it is simple. You don't need to, you don't not exercise because you don't know what to go and do. You don't need the next Men's Health magazine or
you don't know how to
TikTok.
run around your block.
Yeah, man, I would do it, but I just don't know. Like, no, you know what to do. You know how to eat better. You
You at least know the basics of it.
You know how to get close to God this week. You know how to get that cup filled. Is there a cricket in here?
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah. I think it's over there.
A real cricket? Maybe it's the penguin. They're 2 pounds, so it could be
Hiding anywhere. Those things hide.
Yeah, there is a cricket in here.
Yeah.
He just wants some of your message.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Or he is symbolically describing the reaction of our audience. Wow, dude.
Dude, great point Doug's making.
Yeah.
Nothing but crickets.
Yeah.
crickets.
There you go.
But we know all the things to do.
Yeah.
And I think I agree because we're in that right now.
Yep.
I'm preaching in Denver. You're preaching in Austin. It's a gift. I kind of woke up this morning excited. Like I'm going to live better this week, and life is going to be more challenging this week.
Yeah.
But I'm going to rise to that occasion.
It's crazy to me how quickly I don't know if it's laziness or apathy or just kind of like wanting things to be easier. The day or two after I preach for a weekend, I'm actually the most excited for the next time I get to.
Yes.
But if it's been a week or two removed, I start to kind of be like, here it comes.
You kind of get out of that setting.
Yeah, you
That's
forget
interesting.
that it's actually such a great
That's
challenging
very interesting.
week
Mm-hmm.
and start to dread it a little bit.
Mhm.
And I even sometimes I'm guilty of like talking about preaching weeks like that, of like, oh yeah, preaching week, here it comes. Like it's a storm, but it's actually a really great week in
It's
the
a
end.
gift, man.
It's a gift.
It
But I
calls
think
you
that's
to
how
live at a
life
higher
is
level.
too. It's like when
Yeah.
you're in church and you're feeling that closeness with God, it's like,
Yeah.
I want to be here every single week. But then the
Yeah.
week next, it's Friday and you're like, oh, I got a lot to do.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need to go. That's work. I got to sit in the parking lot, all that.
Yeah. Yeah. It turns
What
into
is that
something-
root of like, it's like a rebellion against the very things we know will help us. And I feel like that's in us as humans.
I think it's a passivity, apathy also, where, I mean, the root of everything in the Garden of Eden was Adam's passivity.
Right.
And just, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'd just rather not fight for that.
Path of least resistance.
The path of least resistance, the easiest route is the one that we typically take.
Mm.
And our brains, our fallen brains, literally are more hardwired for survival than success. And so people who thrive and are successful kind of override the systems of their brains and start training their brains away from passivity and away from existing and away from my goal is just to get through the day into, no, my goal is to live on purpose. And my goal is to accomplish something. And my goal is to. So I think there's just a natural fallen apathy, passivity, laziness and that's why it feels good. Not at first. It's like getting cold water dumped over you. It shocks you, and that part's not comfortable. But then you kind of appreciate the fact that somebody slapped you in the face, like, "Hey, thank you."
Yeah.
That woke me up. I snapped out of an apathetic haze. And I snapped into the reality of life, and I'm ready to fight, you know, and I'm ready like a new kind of spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
and
brains
so like
are hardwired for
survival. Yes.
instead of success.
Yep.
That's
Hardwired
really interesting.
to take the path of least resistance.
So you have some conflict in your life, and what a successful person would do is be like a buffalo and take that head on. But we have something in our brain that goes, no, let's just go back to Instagram. Let's keep scrolling. Let's
Yes.
just stay away from this thing. Let's stay safe because at least then we can stay alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. With like food.
Mhm.
Right.
I've used it like meal prepping takes forever and
Right.
shopping is more expensive for if you actually get really high quality stuff, you know, so I'll just eat like crap this week and then wonder why I feel like crap
Right.
this week.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And in the end, sickness costs way more money than health
Right?
does.
Yeah.
Right.
In the end, it does.
Welcome to
you know?
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man.
It'd be an interesting exercise to play out the path of least resistance decisions you've made in your life
Mhm.
and where that path led you to,
yeah.
Huh.
you know,
Yeah.
versus the road less
For real.
traveled, so to speak.
Yeah, it's the same concept. I think I shared this a couple weeks ago. And I think you could fill in the blank for what responsibility looks like. You said this before. We have a responsibility to have responsibility, to own something, and to take a cause personally, or to take that
You might say that
person
this weekend.
personally.
Foreshadow.
Whoa. I didn't even mean to do that.
Dude, this sermon's about
But-
to be Kodak.
But statistics show for guys especially, you get married, you start making more money. You have a first kid, you start making more money. You have a second kid, you start. Why? It's because you realize you have to.
Yeah.
So you go figure out how to.
Yeah.
And then you do it. All that is that's responsibility. I'm now responsible for more.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for preaching this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for leading a church. I'm responsible for the group that I lead. I'm responsible for these kids. And it causes you to live better. And the reality is you always had the ability to do that,
Yeah.
but you never had the reason to.
Mm.
And so you just didn't because you didn't have to.
Yeah.
So I think the question we're all asking is, if this week you don't have to do that,
Mhm.
how do you get yourself to do it?
I was recording some stuff for Single Today for Right Now Media. It's going to be like a video series for groups to watch and whatever, talking about the rise of singleness and the negative effects of it. And some of the stats that I found are, and if you're single like me, take yourself out of this equation. I'm talking about this from 30,000 feet, but single people, especially single men, seem to be trailing married men in just about every category when it comes to like college education and average salary and employment rate and all of that. And so the numbers are like pretty clear that when you're a single guy, by and large, you make less than married men. You have
That's
less
interesting.
education. You have less and I think a lot of that is rooted in exactly what you're saying is marriage and having kids is one of God's great designs to get men to feel that responsibility and ownership to then step into it because you'll be amazed at what you will do when you have to do it.
Exactly.
So my whole thing with especially with single guys is always how do we embrace that responsibility even before we have that, right? That's where the game begins. But I think that's why a lot of single people, especially single men, get stagnant in life, and it's so easy to fall into that trap.
What has pushed you to not? Because you take you build a life. You've built a life that you really go after things, and you're not just kind of floating around. You have a lot of meaning and purpose to what you do.
Yeah, you're an outlier to that statistic.
Yeah, thank you.
and you make millions of dollars.
Yeah,
I mean, you're about to have 1 billion subscribers
Yeah.
on your podcast.
dude. Plus, I make 5 figures.
Yeah, this guy's making 5 figures over here.
That's wild, dude. 5?
Oh yeah.
$100 is 3 figures. Let's just put that into perspective.
I've never even seen $100.
Dude, I've got more than 100.
You
tell you that.
Yeah. That's one of the greatest apologetics arguments of all time. It's for Santa, but in the Santa Claus. Why don't you believe in Santa? I've never seen him. You ever seen $1 million? Never seen $1 million, but I know it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Case
That's
closed, Charlie. Well done, son.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Neil,
So is that kind of how, I guess?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that-
kind of like Santa Claus. Just go watch that.
just get a weenie whistle.
Christmas game? No.
No,
By the way, the other morning when I felt like a little crisp
dude,
air
I'm
for a
so
second,
excited. I'm so excited.
My brain went, time to set up my Christmas
Yep.
decorations.
Let's
get the lights out.
I'm
That's
gonna-
one of my favorite days of the year.
I'm going to make an
We're
announcement.
months away.
Let's just get into Christmas early.
Let's right
this
now.
year.
We're
You don't have to wait till after Thanksgiving.
Joy
That's just
to
like a whatever.
the world. Name that movie. You guys are just chat GPT. You
The
don't
Santa
care.
Claus.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, how dare you?
I know.
Ethan,
That was 2 minutes ago that we were talking about.
do you know that movie?
Joy to the world.
Clark Griswold.
Anyways,
Tune back in November to find out as we rate our favorite Christmas movies.
even October.
Is Christmas Vacation your favorite Christmas movie?
Yeah, or September. Here we go.
Top 3.
Okay, we'll find out more later on.
If
If you guys want that information, you gotta rally.
You
and
gotta
get 1 billion
subscribe. You
subscribers.
gotta get at least probably 500 million people to subscribe along with you. And if 2 people do that, we have 1 billion subscribers.
Tell you
It's not
what,
that hard.
if we reach 1
Yeah.
billion subscribers,
Yeah.
then we are giving away an Afterthoughts t-shirt. There has never been one.
That's true.
And we will only make one.
One of one.
And all you have to do is subscribe and comment.
Yeah.
And then if we hit a billion,
It might be there's a drawing or something where one of the billion gets this t-shirt.
Odds are still low because there's a billion people in the hat, but it might be you.
1 in a billion are the odds. I can tell you.
Yep.
Unless you create 2 YouTube
Well,
accounts.
not if everybody doesn't
then
comment.
It's 1 in half a billion.
That's true. That's a great idea.
Or 2 in 1 billion.
What if you
wanna
created
say
a
it.
million YouTube accounts?
Yeah, so for me, it's just having like a big North Star that I'm running towards. That's how I've like managed to like stay on purpose and live on purpose. You know?
You have vision for your life.
And that's
Okay, what do you mean when you say North Star? Generically,
chair just break.
Oh, I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I'm okay. Don't worry. Everyone chill.
Everybody chill.
Kayla,
When
check,
you- when
check
you
my medical
say-
insurance.
Okay, when you say North
I'm gonna
Star,
have to go.
what does that mean objectively? And then also, just to help the people out a little bit,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of what that means subjectively.
And if when you're talking about the
You
North,
do know what I mean, though, right? Okay.
are you talking about?
Funny way to phrase it.
Are you talking about the North Star from a standpoint of astrology or astronomy, Ryan?
I'm saying if you look at the Big Dipper and you see the bottom of the ladle part, like the cup
Always
part,
pointing to the North Star.
and you follow your thumb kind of 4 lengths and you fall down just a little bit, that star,
That's
what
the
I'm
North
talking
Star.
about. Yeah.
And you follow that. Why that one?
Hmm?
Anyone know? I'll tell you why. Because that would help you go north.
Why?
Because it is the North Star.
Because while all the other
And if you follow it all the way to the top, the Santa Claus, that's where that
Is there.
happens. It's all interconnected. This is
That's the star.
what's all
that-
this 1 in a million talkie?
That's the one star. Every night when you go look up, it'll be in the same exact place.
wow. But is there a fault in our stars?
No. All of them except for one.
when Matt and I were
I don't know
Kayaking.
when it
Just
was.
going to put on the record, we have nothing to do with astrology. Here. Just want to make that very clear.
No, but we like the movie When a Star is Born.
What did you say about, yes, very sad though at the end.
Yeah.
What did you
Yeah.
say in your
Yeah,
sermon when you
don't give it away at the
dismantled all
ending.
that?
Yeah.
oh
It was so
Yeah,
good.
dude, it's
We
awesome.
look at
yeah, the whole premise was that spirituality has become narcissistic and that we're making
yeah.
spirituality about ourselves, and that all like the self-discovery stuff, that's a great thing until you get caught in it, and then all of a sudden you make all of
you're being very kind, but what did you say though?
I said when David looked up into the night sky, it led him to worship God. When we look up in the night sky, we start to wonder if we're compatible with someone who is born in October.
That's so
I
good.
think that's how it came out.
That was my favorite moment of your preaching career.
And it's true, man.
It also
it's
reminds me
just
of
true.
October Sky.
Wow.
Yeah. Doug is so good at naming things that relate to stars.
But kind of like very vaguely. Because
Super
in
Klondike guy.
Psalm 19, David looks up and he goes, "The stars proclaim the work of your hands." And so David looked up in the night sky and he felt very small. We look up in the night sky and we start to think that we're very big because we think that all of this is here for us.
It's
And
like
that's-
fortune cookies.
wow.
It's the most
That's wrong.
generic stuff
Yeah.
too. It's like the most generic. It's be so easy to come up
dude.
with that. It's like, oh, if you were born in this month and this month, you're gonna face something difficult. And they're like, I am facing something difficult. Well, yeah.
Right,
You're
right,
a human.
right.
Is.
Okay. Anyway,
And you find what you're looking
And
for.
it all plays off
That's
of
why
like
it always works.
people's insecurities.
Yeah.
fortune cookies have now not even turned into like this is gonna happen. It's just like a statement to you of like,
Yeah, it's like great joy is a good medicine.
yes, okay,
Have you
that's not a
seen-
fortune.
Have you remember the Simpsons scene?
Why am I eating this? And this
Where
cookie doesn't even taste good. It's not even a cookie.
They're at a Chinese restaurant, and Homer's. He's like, I wonder where these are made. And then it zooms out, and there's a room in like the upper room above the restaurant, where there's like 20 people on tiny little typewriters.
Dude, it's so good.
And then one guy messes up and he throws it into this trash that's about this big.
So good. The Simpsons called it
So
all, man.
from a-
I've been telling you guys this forever.
From not an
Yeah.
astrology perspective, but from a actually God-fearing perspective, you have a North Star in your life.
What does that mean objectively, Ryan? And then what does it mean subjectively, Ryan?
Which one would you like me to start with?
What is a North Star? What do you mean by that? And then what is yours?
Doug is being a real rascal today on the Afterthoughts podcast.
We keep like almost having these good threads.
I've been a real pesto.
So true.
Oh,
has
was Pesto
been.
the penguin or the hippo?
Are you
Pesto's
serious?
the
Are you
penguin.
kidding me,
Take
dude?
a guess.
Pesto the penguin.
It's the penguin, man.
I'm sorry. Michaela's question was,
Who
have you
names a
heard of
hippo
this?
Pesto?
Pesto the hippo.
Yeah, dude.
It rhymes. I think it works too. And
It does
Anyway.
rhyme.
okay.
Anyways, the whole, I mean, on a serious
Give the
note,
people what they came for, dude.
We already have for 40 minutes. How many subscribers are we at right now? Live, probably. We're probably at 750.
It's ticking up as we
Million.
speak.
If Elon Musk tweets this podcast one time,
yeah, we will get 1 billion. On a
and then
serious
gets all
note,
of his friends on X to tweet it.
You
as
got it,
well.
Ryan. You can do it.
I can do this.
Well, Ryan, fill us in.
Genesis 2, God says it's not good for man to be alone. Genesis 1, Genesis 2, I don't remember. I've preached it so many times and I don't remember.
Genesis 2, Ryan.
And that is, that's real, right? When you don't have somebody else in your life that you are in a relationship with, it's very easy to let your soul grow stagnant, to get caught, to start to feel like every day is a less exciting rerun of the day before. It's the whole premise of my book, Single Today. And the idea is, where the whole thing came from was realizing in my own life that was starting to happen to me. And for me, my journey, my story is that a romantic relationship has never been a huge desire for me. And so I had to ask the question, okay, but how can I continue to stir up the stagnant water in my own soul, even without a relationship? And I think that I just realized along the way that I can help people who do want a romantic relationship, because your problem is the same. You have to keep taking steps forward. You have to keep moving forward. You have to keep becoming the best version of yourself. You have to keep becoming the you that the person you would want to be with would want to be with, and all of that. And so for me, I had to answer that question by looking inwardly. You too get to answer that question by like having a date night with your wives and sitting down and going, hey, what are we dreaming about for the future? And that's really beautiful. It's also possible to do that on your own. It just requires you to get silent and to get still, and to learn the lost art of sitting with yourself and asking the question, okay, what are the desires that God has placed on my heart, and who do I really want to be? It takes more work, but it actually is possible to do that. And so for me, that's where my North Star came from, because without vision, you're going to perish. And so sitting down, getting still, getting silent, asking questions like, hey, what actually makes me come alive? And what am I actually really good at? And what does this world need? And where is the overlap between those three things? And so for me, it's I exist to create and communicate content that makes Jesus beautiful. And that is a North Star. Now it's a very broad North Star, and underneath that, there's all sorts of different ways that I try to do that. And I'm always trying to come up with new ideas and new ways to do it. But I love it, and it gives me purpose. And I got out of bed early this morning after the birds chirped on my alarm. Shout out to the 3 different people that came up to me in the lobby and said, I changed my alarm clock to birds chirping.
Nice.
And
Were
I had
they
my
penguins?
quiet time.
Was it Pesto?
And I did my workout.
Big chirp.
And I
Can't even fly.
went out on my morning walk. And all of it wasn't just those things for themselves. Those were all means to a greater end, which is I want to create and communicate content that makes Jesus beautiful. So I do all of those things because I have a higher North Star. And to anyone that's listening to this and is single, it's harder to set those North Stars, but it's so important. And so whatever yours is, it's important to take that time to sit and learn.
Very good.
That was very good.
So maybe part of the answer to our question of why don't people do the things that will be the most beneficial to them is because they don't have a vision for why they would.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one. You need a reason.
I think that a lot of spiritual disciplines people view as the antithesis to getting what they want.
Yeah.
People see those as chores, boring, have-tos, religious duty.
So
a lot of that
funny.
probably based
Yeah.
on how we grew up in church, not realizing, oh, you want to be a joyful person? You should start your day by reading scripture.
Yeah, right.
You should worship.
Right.
You should repent.
Mm-hmm.
You should go celebrate. Like those are things that we should do, but we resist because we don't think they'll deliver to us maybe what we're hoping for.
And you talked a little bit about it, but I'm also curious, okay, if you guys were to describe what it means for you subjectively to be a joyful person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the same thing when we talk about vision. Just for backstory, really quick, if I'm in a premarital counseling session, this happened to me 2 weeks ago. I will ask them week one.
You're getting premarital counseling? You're already married.
I'm doing for
giving
myself.
Sam, I'd like to meet with you.
Posthumously.
Nice. There it is.
From the grave.
Whoa.
That's what that means.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. You're still alive. Okay.
Agree to disagree. No, that's what it means.
What it means.
That's what it means.
No, I was, there's a couple that is getting married in a couple months.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It's great.
Thanks, guys. I'll tell him you said that. So I asked him, what is your vision? Not for your wedding,
Yeah.
for your marriage.
Ooh.
And
Always the
it
best
always
question.
shocks everybody. And
Oh,
the answer, even if I give him a couple weeks to think about it, usually people's answer is, we just want like a really good marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
Like really healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's brilliant. I didn't realize, wow.
Oh, you guys want a good marriage?
I'm going to
Yeah.
steal that.
Oh, that is,
Why didn't I think of that?
you're making me emotional because I can totally see exactly what that marriage is.
Remember,
Yeah.
remember the movie Brink that
Yeah.
we grew up watching?
Oh,
When he's
such a
just
good
like,
movie.
skate better.
That's all I have
little
to do.
sister. Oh, skate better.
Well, there you go.
you go.
Just skate better.
Just skate better.
So I always challenge people. I'm like, that vision sucks.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want that, but paint me a picture.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What do you want? You know, as far as like communication, financially together. What are your dreams? What do you want for a family? What's a career? Where are you living? What is? Make me feel this, man.
Yeah.
Because the more that you can make me feel it, the more you're gonna feel it. Because when you say we want a healthy marriage, that doesn't make you tear up.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make you wake up in the morning and change the way you're living so that one day you'll have a healthy marriage. But if you can accurately, with details, see what's possible for you, then you will choose today what you want most, even over what you want now. And so the idea of even, man, what would it look like? I just want to be a joyful person. Oh, so does everybody wants to be a joyful person. What is that? What do you think that feels like? What do you think that looks like? How does that change the person you are, the man you are, the dad you are, the friend you are, the way you preach, the way you lead, the way you feel on a Wednesday afternoon to have a full joy tank, if you will.
Yeah. One of my like vision things for my life has always been, I want to be a person that's undaunted by my circumstances. Not unaffected. I used to say unaffected, but I don't think that's realistic to life. I think you will be affected, but to be undaunted by them. Your happiness is dependent on your circumstances. Your joy is dependent on your God. And it was really interesting to me that happiness, the words associated with that are excitement, activity, and energy. But with joy from your
Wait,
parents.
say those again, sorry.
Excitement, energy, activity
Okay.
in your sympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
Joy is your parasympathetic nervous system, and the associations are calm and peace.
Mm-hmm.
So joy is not always this through the roof, I'm ready to run through a wall and go party feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ability to have calm and peace and see the joy set before you on a terrible day.
Yeah.
I think that's the depth of what's possible
Yeah.
in feeling joy. And so for me, there are those moments of like, I'm just so overjoyed and filled, and I feel like the emotive part of it. But the thing I really crave and desire more and have felt in my life is when I'm tapping into and filling up that joy tank is I can walk into a difficult circumstance and I'm not so like affected by it and daunted by it. And it's not this thing that is going to ruin me, but I'm actually going to change how this thing goes because I can carry this calm, peace, and joy into a very difficult circumstance. Yeah.
That's really well said. And I love your distinction between joy and happiness in the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. That happiness is a sympathetic nervous system game. And we all, using the example of college, like that was our MO.
Yeah.
Is let's just get hits of happiness.
Our house was a sympathetic nervous system house.
That's like, so obviously sympathetic nervous system, more of the fight or flight, like you're able to lock into that arena. You're better at this, so correct me if I get it wrong. when you need it, but you're supposed to then get back into parasympathetic where you rest and restore. And that's where we're supposed to live. And so like when the hippo comes your way, you get into the sympathetic nervous system and you get out of
the
there.
most dangerous animal.
Oh, wow. But they're so cute though.
Double jointed jaws.
And then you get back into rest and restore.
Correct.
And what's happening from all the research that I see, the way I understand it, is the world is set up in such a way that it's keeping us stuck in the sympathetic nervous system. And so there's like, as soon as we're about to relax, we get a notification on your phone or your watch or your computer, and then you start to worry that something's wrong. And before you know it, you're right back into it. And so we're not taking time to sink into the deeper waters of the joy because we end up just living in the sympathetic. And I think that's why you see a culture of people continuing to look for happiness hits when deep joy is actually offered to us.
Yeah. Those happiness hits are Band-Aids to not have to actually go get surgery, right?
Yeah.
And that's sadly how a lot of people, I think, fall into addiction, for example, is because there's something very painful and traumatic that's happened in their life, but to actually go to the roots of it and deal with it and walk through it is so hard. You know, and I feel that for a lot of people. And so there's something that can help me right now to just feel a little bit better. And that makes sense. So I'm going to do that. And I think it's a very logical human approach.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, then that joy tank stays empty because you can only rely on those hits of happiness and they're temporary for a little bit. And it doesn't heal deep down. The depth of joy, ultimately, that I see in Jesus, that he passed to the disciples and he prayed and said, like, I want my joy to be complete in you.
Yeah, right.
Is that their lives there probably weren't that many days where they felt happy from there, like from the resurrection into starting the church. And then, you know, they had moments, I'm sure, but their resolve came from a deep well in them that Jesus had filled, that came from the joy of the Lord, that on most days had to stand in the midst of real darkness and persecution and pain. Like the disciples' lives were not happy, but they were very joyful. And they'd get together and they'd worship together and they would like get that well filled up to go back into very difficult circumstances. And that's a harder road, you know? And so the human nature, like we're talking about this whole conversation, is to avoid having to live that life and let me just go numb myself and feel happy as much as I can through worldly things. But I think that you stay unhealed. I think that you stay empty living that life. And that's how we all felt in that time in our lives. And then all of a sudden you start to get this feeling that you can't quite even put into words of like, I feel differently about life. My circumstances look differently to me. I'm in the midst of something hard, but yet I'm okay. And now we're in a society also that I think like is not okay with people ever being okay.
Yeah.
I think you preached about that not that long ago, of like, it's okay to actually be okay.
Yeah.
And now we live in a society where you see somebody going through something hard and they're actually filled with joy and they have peace and calm, so to speak. And you're like, oh, something's wrong.
Yeah.
That can't possibly be true.
Yeah.
But a depth of faith, of a feeling of joy of Jesus actually makes that possible. I think we just don't see many examples of it.
No, not many at all. Which I love your description of, I want to be the kind of person who, because we all know a few people who, when they walk into the room, even if there's panic in the room, it neutralizes and grounds it.
Yeah.
Ethan's here.
Yep.
So even though this is all crazy, Ethan's here.
Yep.
And we can tell he might be like a little phased and computing things, but he's also grounded in a much bigger reality than this emergency or this urgent thing. And we're going to figure it out. Even if it's hard, and even if there's a little bit of loss here or there, whatever it is, we'll figure out this circumstance. Yeah. And you get it like inspires other people. So wanting to become more and more of that. I want to be the person who, when I walk into the room, there's like okay, we're good here.
Yeah.
When Mila was almost born, Sam was in the hospital in the delivery room, and it was us and one nurse. God bless this. I mean, she was new, and she was the whole time trying to get a hold of two doctors who were both in C-section surgeries.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
And Mila was on her way, and Sam's screaming, and it's me and Sam and this nurse, and then a few other nurses come, and they're like getting everything ready, and you could feel there's a lot of what do you call it, like the bedside manner and amazing personalities in the room, but there's also, you could feel a little bit of panic in everybody.
Right.
And then all of a sudden,
It's like missing authority.
it's missing authority. 2 minutes before Mila was born, the doctor walked in, and she could not have been more unfazed. She walks in, everything's set up, and the whole room is fine.
Yep.
And she walks in like, I think experience is a big, with
no
joy.
doubt.
Like
no doubt.
I've learned, I've seen a lot over the years.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine. Been through a lot of elections before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, guys, we're going to be,
Yeah.
It's that sort of mentality, that doctor walking in, then everybody calms down.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, let's have a baby. It's going to be a
We're gonna
good
be
day.
okay.
I've done this, man, 30,000 times.
Been to 30,000 deliveries, and guess what? We've rocked them all.
And I think that brings up an interesting point
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like there used to be a higher honor for people who have lived longer, for older people. And we have shifted the scale, or tipped the scale at a cultural level, where now it's like, no, if you're young, then you must have like the most authentic and best answer for these things. And unfortunately, most people who are young, who haven't been through a lot of elections or things or whatever, like it's all going to be very emotive.
Yep.
And it's all going to be very, well, here's how I feel right now. And I think just as a culture as a whole, we need to get back to honor.
Yeah.
We used to have elders, and now we have elderly people. And I want to say I've been convicted of that recently, of like, no, I think people who have been here for several decades probably have a lot of wisdom to share with us. That's just a thought.
That's good.
An afterthought.
That's a good
An
thought.
afterthought. It is. Then that's why, though, going back to the spiritual disciplines, when you read the Word of God, you are deciding to agree with what's true rather than what you feel. And what's true is that God has a life of being joyful, not just feeling happy for you.
Right.
And you can tap into that. But if you live off the emotions of how I feel today, you will just be on this roller coaster where everything is based off your circumstance and how you feel about it. And the other thing I'd say is perspective is such a key to living a life of joy. That's why it's so cool to me that it says that it was the joy set before Jesus that led him to endure the cross. And he was obviously the ultimate guy who'd walk into any room and everyone would just look to him like, okay, he's here.
He's here.
We're good.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? Unless you were his enemy, and then you'd be terrified of what he's going to do that's going to make you mad. But I think the Apostle Paul had learned that in a lot of hard ways, that he became the guy who he could walk into a room and everyone else would be like, he's been through it all. And all he keeps telling us to do is rejoice. All he keeps telling us to do is enjoy the moment that we're in, because he knows what awaits us. Like to live as Christ, to die as gain mentality is living with the joy set before you of eternity. So today's circumstances actually don't affect me all that much.
So good.
Because I know the joy that's set before me. So if you carry that perspective, and that's why those faucets open up and they give you that perspective every day that we lose
so good.
quickly.
So if you haven't seen the message, go watch the message.
Go watch the message.
Because I think the question in my mind is, do you know how to find joy outside of your circumstance or somebody else, throwing you a surprise party, or your friend like,
I think that was a hint that Doug wants us to throw him a surprise party.
last time that happened, I got roasted for 2.5 hours. So
We can do it again.
That was a
Tons of new
phenomenal
material.
night.
tons, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I've got way more. I could roast myself for hours and rip into me, man.
Yeah.
I would destroy myself.
We gotta run those
You should
back.
do it.
I should.
Self-roast.
This is the
Good.
roast of me.
Good.
Yeah. But do you know how to find joy outside of circumstances? That's my last thought, is what I shared with our staff this morning.
Yeah.
Is Jesus, he said, I have food you don't know about. I have a source you don't know about. I have a secret stash, if you will. And the question that somebody asked Elon Musk at an interview in a conference, at an entrepreneurship conference, and the last thing the guy asked him was, can you say something encouraging for all the entrepreneurs in the room? And this guy's final thought was, sure, if you need encouragement, don't be an entrepreneur.
So good, dude.
So good.
That's amazing.
But in a weird way,
So
so we'll reframe that and go, what I said to our team this morning, if you need constant encouragement from people and validation, don't be a church builder.
No.
Go do something else.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, I hope that's encouraging in and of itself, because it shows you actually need less encouragement from your surroundings and from your circumstances and from other people than you think.
That's right.
Because you have access to unlimited joy and peace and contentment. He is the well of everything unlimited.
Right.
Do you know how to go access that on your own? Because you're not always going to have the sermon when you need it, or the phone call when you need it, or the Afterthoughts episode when you need it. Especially that. Do you know how to, apart from getting the phone call at the opportune time, you yourself to go tap into that well and be encouraged from the Holy Spirit and receive joy from the one who is that joy? Do you have a secret stash? Because I think you're gonna need one. If you don't know how to do that yet, you need to learn. I think that's part of spiritual maturity. I know how to find out who I am apart from what other people say.
Yeah.
I know where to go.
Yeah. The world you live in will try to deplete that tank all day long.
Yes.
You know, and so the question is, how do you keep that vision, North Star, to put it in Ryan's language?
I will.
And how do you keep then doing those practical things? Because here's the thing, that scripture comes from Nehemiah chapter 8. The joy of the Lord is your strength. We read that whole chapter, that whole story. And right there, they figure it out. They unlock it. They've been in the word, they've worshiped, they felt the conviction of repentance, and then they celebrate, and it's this amazing time. Yeah. And the rest of Nehemiah, everything goes haywire. Yeah. To the point that Nehemiah's like hitting people. He's so mad. Everyone starts wandering away, and they change up their worship, and they start letting other things in, and they start disagreeing. And like how quickly we as humans know exactly what to do and what it wells up in us, and yet we will wander away so fast into other things that are going to rob that joy. So how do you continually lead yourself with the vision and do the things that are going to keep delivering that to you? Last question.
Okay.
Why are so many Christians allergic to joy? Like, why do so many people view Christianity as something where you take yourself too seriously, you never have fun, shouldn't laugh?
Why is joy considered shallow?
Yeah.
To use your words?
Yeah. I've stumped everyone. Kayla, you and Pesto have any ideas over there?
And Pesto.
I think we confuse responsibilities. So what we do is very, very serious, making heaven more crowded. And we have a part to play in that, but we're not the savior of the story. And when we confuse those responsibilities, we end up putting all that weight on our shoulders. And then things like laughter seem like a waste of time or like less than. When actually Jesus was showing us ad nauseum, I got this. I'm the savior. Come along with me and let's have a great time as we go. And so for me, like I end up taking myself too seriously. I take the whole thing too seriously. I overthink everything. And then I'll be driving home like, I thought this is supposed to be fun. Like this is supposed to be like a mission and an adventure. And of course there's going to be trials, but I'm putting too much pressure on myself. Yeah. So my answer is I think we put too much pressure on our shoulders.
In the prodigal son story, the older brother, what makes him the most mad is that they're throwing a party. Yeah. Celebration to him is like, how dare you?
Because he had it all on his shoulders. Look what I'm doing. Look at all this work that I'm completing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We take ourselves too serious. I think that's another way of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we and even like the mission, like we put it on us to, there's no time for joy. There's no time for parties or wake surfing. Yeah. Because we have to go, because it's heaven and hell.
Yeah.
There's a mission.
Right.
You know, you think Jesus had time to go wake surfing?
Yeah. I always imagine people were really curious why he was at a wedding.
Yeah.
Like he did 3 years of ministry and he spent a whole probably week at this wedding party, hanging out, changing water to wine.
Yeah.
So there's so much that
if we make heaven more crowded by being a light to a dark world, then I think right now one of the ultimate ways to be a light in our cultural moment is by being joyful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I think when someone should see evidence of your faith,
mm-hmm.
and when you meet a Christian who's so unhappy and they don't like take themselves too seriously. Like, why would I want to be a part of what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like that's not bringing you life at all.
So good, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're great at that, by the way.
Well, thanks.
You're great at setting that example.
I think that one of the reasons why people resist joy or think it's shallow is actually deep down they don't think they deserve it.
Oof.
Like, this life needs to be hard for me, and I can't smile and laugh and have a good time because I don't deserve that. I know how flawed I am and broken I am, and I try to cover that up with how my performance and behavior and whatever. But I don't think I should actually have a seat at the party. I wonder if there was a part of the older brother in that story that had some insecurity in him of like, I don't belong at that party too. Even though I'm going to judge the crap out of my younger brother and say he doesn't deserve a party, there's also something in me that I feel like I can't work hard enough in this field for my dad to ever throw a party for me, or that he should ever throw a party for me. I don't know.
I think judging somebody else's party is the number one sign that you don't feel like you deserve your own.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's the person that comes up after a baptism testimony with a little skepticism of like, I don't know, like that. Does it seem like they totally like should be in that tub? And I'm like, dude, I don't think the issue's about them.
Yep.
I think it's about you.
I feel a lot of that in me. I have a scarcity mindset when it comes to joy.
Yeah.
Like I better not spend this.
Hmm.
I better keep working and save.
Yeah.
And have my bank account full of fun that I could have. Because if I spend it, what goes around comes around. And I'm like, the more that's probably a whole other conversation for another day.
From. Yeah, we
but
should get into that.
I absolutely, it's hard for me. I've said this to you guys before. I'm really working on it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have I think a message to preach at some point that's very helpful because it's completely personal.
Yeah.
But I'm relearning. I used to be the best at having fun.
Yeah.
Joy used to come so easy.
Yeah.
Enjoying life was natural until leadership within ministry started.
Yeah.
And now it's like the most foreign thing, or it has been forever.
Yeah.
And when I am joyful, it almost feels like a little rebellion.
Yeah.
Away from the mantle I should be holding or carrying.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's just a little trailer for another conversation, but that's why
there's something to that.
It's hard for me. It's really hard.
Part
for
of
me.
that feeling like it's rebellious is because most people, like the most common category of like, oh, I kind of wandered away is like, I went into the party scene.
Yeah.
And that's celebration.
Right.
As the world does it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you come out of the party scene, you feel like I can no longer be a party person when actually you are a party person, but you have to learn how to celebrate differently.
Right. Yeah.
Where you're not actually with a life of trying to get hits of happiness and feeling a bunch of shame about all the ways you're doing that. It's a way better form of partying. Like if you partied with Jesus, you left that party feeling built up and like, I want more celebration in my life. But if you party with the world, you walk out
That's
like, oh, woe is me. Like, I am a mess,
we think the alternative to the party scene is holiness.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out the most holy thing you could do on a Friday night.
Right. You need to go sit in quiet and just read your Bible and all that, which is all good stuff. But there's a place for just having fun in life and enjoying
it's just
it.
the party
and
scene,
you can
but
do
redeemed.
It.
It's a redeemed party scene.
That's what eternity is.
Yes.
It's just it's the party scene.
Yeah.
We got to do that.
Yeah.
Because celebration isn't the problem. It's all of the
ways
numbing that
it's
you're
the
doing
mode
with
of
different
celebration.
Correct.
It's the mode of celebration.
Yes.
But that like we numb to try to get away from ourselves. Jesus was fully present with himself. And so how can you celebrate while being your full true self?
Yeah, if you can go to a party and you're not trying to cover up something or build up a little courage through drinking this or get away from everything by taking that substance or whatever, like you're just there.
Yes.
And happy to be there and having fun with confidence and with the people. You're like, there is such a need for Christians to do that. I know there's people that are uncomfortable in our church because we laugh. We make jokes.
Oh, yeah.
We have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people that I'm like, I hope you'll stay long enough to find out that that's a spiritual, like that's a fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
That's a mandated spiritual discipline in your life that you are missing out on, whether it's because you don't think you deserve it or you think it's shallow or you've got the responsibilities wrong. You take yourself too seriously. Like that's the Nicodemus in the group. Break free of that and come with Jesus. Please. Because you'll get to experience what he really, really wants for you. So
I have a thought.
There's more to that.
Let's go, Kayla.
I think for me, with the Christians that are like joyful, I guess, that like maybe you're kind of skeptical of them being so joyful. I think for me, I've like been seen from like an outside perspective of like people who view joy as like a religion and like a religious tactic. Like they can't ever sit in the hard times. Like they have to always be like, God's gonna like pull me through. Like they don't actually like sit in the hurt or sit in like the grief or the mourning or whatever it is, that they like always like will see the bright side, which is a beautiful thing. But I think they neglect a lot of like what they're actually feeling. They're feeling the hard emotions, and so they will just go automatically to like the fake joy, or like they put on like the fake image of like, I am always like okay. And that kind of goes back to your like, it's okay to not be okay. And I think that comes from like the steady like peacefulness or like calmness that like is the difference.
Yeah.
And it's not always like showing yourself as like the happy, bubbly person. And I think that's where like I get very skeptical of the very like joyful people that maybe it's not actually joyful, it's like happy people, Christians to say is, I'm like, how much have you actually processed?
There's a denial.
It feels like
There's a denial there.
It's a superficial joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
I get like, I kind of have to do like double takes and like discern of like, and I think that's maybe not always fair, but maybe it's like from friends or people that I've seen. I'm like, you actually
really good.
haven't processed
Such a good
things
point,
that you
Kayla.
need to process.
That's for me, that's like my challenge, is to not avoid all that stuff and just pretend like everything's okay all the time. Because I'd just rather it be that way. But that has caused me in my life to have to deal with things years
Such an
later.
Enneagram 7.
Exactly. But here's what's sad about that, because I agree with everything you just said. I think it's sad that if you meet a very like serious Christian, you don't question that for a second.
Right.
But if you meet a joy-filled Christian, you're like, what are you on?
Yeah.
You're not real. There's
So
no
funny.
way.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where we've misplaced joy, and there's counterfeit versions of it.
Nobody would
There's-
question the older brother in the prodigal son story.
And it's like, oh yeah, this dude takes it seriously. Like, good for
Wow.
him. But self-control and joy are both fruits of the spirit, and one is not more important to the other than the other. They are both on the same list.
Yeah.
But you'd hear self-control and go, yes, that is what Christians need. And you'd hear joy and be
Patience and self-control.
like, yeah.
The fruit that tastes more like vegetables.
Yeah.
and those are better for you.
Yeah. What's the fruit that doesn't taste good?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Yes.
That's what self-control is.
Oh,
No,
a
actually,
huge
star
I like
fruit.
tomatoes. Overrated. Dragon
Yeah, very.
fruit, also overrated.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Durian.
But
or whatever
mangoes,
it's called.
that's the
Durian.
joy,
Mangoes,
dude.
dude. Mango's the joy.
Mango is-
Blueberries, the love.
It's the joy.
No, strawberries are their love. Blueberries are the peace.
We'll do a whole episode.
And a
Which fruits
perfect
represent-
plum is
Patience.
We just got plum cots. Have you ever had those?
No.
Phenomenal.
Wow.
A plum and an apricot had a baby, and it
Are you
was
serious?
very good.
Are you serious?
They
Hey,
did.
with AI, anything's possible now, Doug. Well, that was a good
Congratulations.
conversation. And without vision, people perish. That's one of the things we learned today. And that's why we, as a podcast, have a vision that's
Yes.
driving us every moment
Tell
of
us what
every
it is,
day.
E.
A billion subscribers.
A billion subscribers.
That is our objective North Star, and that should be all of y'all's subjective North
Yes,
Stars.
Kayla's
A billion
already getting
subscribers.
designs in her
By
mind on the
December.
t-shirt.
Yeah, the t-shirt singular.
Afterthoughts merch. Can't wait to see it.
Yep.
And we'll be back for episode 57.
Can the shirt be Rogan has his millions and Afterthoughts have their billions?
Yes, absolutely.
Just
And
throw it against the wall.
scene.